Have you ever tasted food so delicious it felt like magic dancing on your tongue? Food that made you close your eyes and forget all your troubles? In a time not so long ago, in the small village of Coma, there lived a man named Paulinus. He was a farmer known for his appetite and discerning taste. One market day, as the sun blazed overhead, Paulinus joined the growing line at a new food stall. The aroma pulled him forward like an invisible hand. "Give me a taste of what everyone speaks of," Paulinus demanded, placing his coins on the wooden counter. The mysterious woman smiled. "I am Amma," she said, her voice smooth as honey. "My food brings joy to those who eat it." As the first morsel touched Paulinus's lips, his eyes widened. "By the ancestors! This is unlike anything I've ever tasted." His hands trembled as he devoured every bite, unaware that with each swallow, a piece of his soul dimmed. What made Amma's food so irresistibly delicious that even the village elders abandoned their lifelong food vendors? Why did birds fall silent when she walked the forest paths at night? Some secrets are buried deep, my friends. Some truths are darker than the space between stars. In this African folklore tale of greed and terrible hunger, you will discover that the most dangerous predator is not always the one with claws and fangs. Welcome to another spine-chilling African folktale. If you enjoy traditional stories that reveal the darkness hiding in plain sight, subscribe now for more tales from the motherland. Coma village nestled between rolling hills and ancient baobab trees, where time moves slowly like honey dripping from a comb. The people were known for their harvest festivals, vibrant marketplaces, and unwavering belief in the spirits that dwelled beyond the forest's edge. Then came the season of unexpected rains, when Amma appeared. No one remembered seeing her arrive. She was simply there one morning, setting up her cooking pots in the forgotten corner of the marketplace. No family claimed her as kin. Amma existed like a shadow at midday, present yet impossible to grasp. "Where do you come from, Amma?" the curious children would ask. "From where all good things begin," she would answer with a smile that never reached her eyes. Those eyes, dark as midnight during a new moon, seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Her hands moved with uncanny precision as she stirred her pots, adding mysterious ingredients that no one recognized. The aroma that rose from her cooking traveled through Coma like a spell, drawing people from their daily tasks as if possessed. Within one moon cycle, even the most loyal customers abandoned lifelong food sellers. Warriors claimed her stew gave them the strength of 10 men. Barren women whispered that after eating her soup, their wombs quickened with new life. Yet as Amma's fame grew, so did peculiar occurrences in Coma. The night birds stopped singing, hunting dogs refused to eat scraps from her stall, and most disturbing, the village burial grounds began reporting missing remains, disturbed earth, and shallow graves left empty beneath the moonlight. Among the market women of Coma, none worked harder than Zara. For 20 seasons, her cooking pots had fed the village with honest food, cassava pounded with care, fish caught from the sacred river, and spices harvested by her own calloused hands. But when Amma's food bewitched the village, Zara's cooking pots grew cold. The elders say that hunger and jealousy are twin spirits that nest in the same belly, and both found home in Zara's heart. The wound cut deepest when her own husband Kenneth returned home, his breath carrying the unmistakable aroma of Amma's cooking. "You have eaten from her pots again?" Zara asked, her voice trembling. "And so have our children," Kenneth admitted without shame. "Wife, there is something in her food that satisfies a hunger I never knew lived inside me." That night, sleep abandoned Zara. Our ancestors warn that when a river changes course suddenly, something mighty has shifted beneath the earth. So too did Zara sense that Amma's success flowed from a hidden, terrible source. The next market day, Zara confronted Amma before the gathered crowd. "What magic do you work into your food that turns my own family against me?" she demanded. Amma looked up from her bubbling pot, her face serene as still water. "I simply give people what they truly crave, Sister Zara. Is it my fault they find in my cooking what yours cannot provide?" The crowd murmured, but Zara saw what others missed. How Amma's eyes remained cold while her lips smiled. How the steam from her pot seemed to form faces that vanished when looked at directly. "This is not over," Zara vowed. "I will discover what secret ingredient gives your food such power." That night, when darkness wrapped Coma village like a burial cloth, Zara followed the path Amma took each evening. The forest path twisted away from the village, deeper into the realm where wise mothers warn children never to wander. After an hour's journey, Amma stopped before a hut Zara had never seen. A dwelling that seemed to breathe in the darkness, its walls glistening with something wet. The smell hit Zara first, not the enticing aroma from the marketplace, but the unmistakable stench of decay that made her cover her mouth to stop from retching. Through a gap in the wall, Zara watched as Amma lit a black candle. The flame cast shadows that moved independently, dancing across walls adorned with human bones. What froze the blood in Zara's veins was the sight of corpses in various states of decomposition, their limbs arranged like butchered meat ready for the pot. "Tonight we feast again," Amma spoke to the darkness, her voice layered like many speaking as one. She selected a severed arm, the flesh gray-green with death, and began slicing it with practiced precision. "The ancestors say that true horror steals your voice before it claims your sanity." Understanding dawned. The meat that had bewitched the village, that her own children had consumed, was human flesh prepared with dark magic. As Zara turned to flee, her foot snapped a branch. The sound hung in the air like a death sentence. "We have a visitor," Amma said without turning. Faster than any human could move, she stood before Zara, blocking her escape. Amma's face transformed, her jaw unhinging to reveal rows of needle-sharp teeth, her eyes glowing red as hot coals. "You wanted my secret recipe, Sister Zara. Now you shall become part of it." Amma's fingers elongated into razor claws that seized Zara's throat. Words in a forgotten tongue spilled from Amma's lips as black smoke poured into Zara's ears and nostrils. Zara's tongue turned to stone in her mouth, her ears filled with the sound of buzzing flies. "You shall not speak of what you've seen," Amma commanded, "but first you must taste the flesh you've scorned." Under the judgmental stars, Zara was forced to consume the unspeakable, her silent screams heard only by the spirits who turned away in sorrow. Dawn found Zara stumbling back to coma, her soul shattered. The curse of Amma's dark magic sealed her lips, leaving her imprisoned within herself. A tomb of flesh where terrible knowledge could not escape. For 7 days, Zara tried to warn her people. Her fingers traced desperate symbols in the dust. Her eyes pleaded with anyone who would look. But the people of Coma saw only a woman gone mad with jealousy. Even Kenneth turned away from her wild gestures. "You have brought this shame upon yourself with your envy of Amma's blessed hands." Each day, Zara watched her neighbors, her friends, her own children, consume the flesh of their own ancestors with sounds of pleasure. Each night, the knowledge gnawed at her insides. On the 8th day, when Zara saw her youngest daughter's eyes glowing with unnatural hunger, something broke within her. Our elders teach us that even the strongest calabash will crack if filled with too much sorrow. Before the morning star announced the new day, Zara walked into the sacred river where the crocodiles sleep. Her body was found when the women came to fill their water pots, her face frozen in a silent scream. Only Omi, Zara's closest friend since childhood, recognized the truth in Zara's lifeless face. Standing alone by the fresh grave, Omi pressed her forehead to the moist earth. "I hear what you could not say, my sister," she whispered. "I swear this evil will not go unanswered. Your voice is silenced, but mine will speak your truth." Unlike her friend Zara, Omi was neither beautiful nor gentle. The village mothers warned their daughters not to become like her, unmarried at 30 rainy seasons, with hands calloused from working alone. What the village didn't understand was that Omi's strength ran deeper than the roots of the mighty Iroko tree. "There is evil among us," Omi declared 3 days after Zara's burial. "Amma's food contains forbidden meat, the flesh of our own dead." The marketplace erupted in laughter. "Grief has poisoned your mind," Elder Eames said, his belly full from his morning meal at Amma's stall. "Go home and pray to the ancestors for clearer thoughts." But Omi noticed how their eyes glinted with unnatural hunger, how their fingernails had begun to curve like talons. That night, Omi traveled to where Zima, the ancient diviner, kept his shrine. For 3 generations, he had protected Coma against spiritual threats. "I sensed your coming," Zima said. "The village consumes itself from within." By sacred flames, Zima cast his divination shells. This creature you call Amma is not human. She is Mpasusu, a flesh-eater from the forgotten world between life and death. Her power grows with each person who consumes her meals. Zima handed Omi a leather pouch. This powder will protect you from her gaze. But to defeat her, the ancient diviner paused as a cold wind extinguished the shrine's flames. If you've ever sensed a darkness others couldn't see, hit that subscribe button now. For the path Omi must walk grows dangerous, and only together can we witness if her courage will be enough against the horror that feasts on Koma village. Dawn had barely broken when Omi discovered Zima's body sprawled across his shrine, divination shells scattered like fallen stars. Around his neck and finger marks no human hand could make. That same day, Omi stood before King Obika of Koma. "Great king, a flesh-eater walks among us." Zima confirmed it before his murder. "Amma feeds our people human flesh." The king's laughter echoed through the royal compound. "First Zara with her jealousy, now you with these accusations? Perhaps you women should spend more time finding husbands than spreading lies." "But the graves, the missing bodies, Zima's murder," Omi pleaded. "Enough," the king roared. "One more word and you will be banished from Koma forever." As Omi left, she spotted Kenneth emerging from Amma's hut, his lips stained dark from her cooking. The same man who had shared 20 years with Zara now walked with Amma, his eyes glazed with unnatural devotion. "Kenneth, have you forgotten your wife so quickly?" Omi called. Kenneth turned, but the eyes belonged to a stranger. "Zara chose her fate. Amma brings me pleasures I never knew existed." Night after night, Omi's hut became a target. Stones crashed through her window. Dead animals appeared at her doorstep. Children sang mocking songs when she passed. Omi realized that Amma's influence now controlled nearly every soul in Koma. Each day brought new signs. Villagers whose eyes reflected firelight like hunting animals, whose fingers had begun to elongate into subtle claws. "I stand alone against a village that devours itself," Omi whispered to the night stars. On the 7th night of her isolation, Omi collapsed into troubled sleep. The ancestors finally spoke. In her dream, Omi stood in a misty clearing. Before her appeared Zara, strong and radiant with life. "The beast cannot be defeated with earthly weapons," Zara's spirit spoke. "What consumes human flesh fears only that which is greater than flesh." Behind Zara appeared other figures, countless victims whose remains had fed the village. "Look to what your mother left you. The truth was always in your possession." Omi woke with a gasp. With trembling hands, she reached for her only inheritance, her mother's Bible, brought by missionaries 2 generations ago. The book fell open to words her mother had underlined. "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world." Something ignited within Omi's heart, the unshakable faith that comes when truth illuminates darkness. She understood now why Amma's kind had never been defeated in Koma before. They had fought with spears against an enemy that could only be vanquished by spiritual weapons. Through the night, Omi read the sacred words aloud. She anointed her forehead with oil blessed by Zima before his death. In her wrapper, she concealed a small device that captured images that could reveal truth when voices were silenced. As dawn approached, the fear that had stalked her dissolved like morning mist. In its place stood a woman transformed, a warrior of light prepared to face the darkness. Outside, she could hear them gathering, dozens of footsteps surrounding her hut. The final battle for Koma's soul had come. They came for her as the blood-red sun breached the horizon, a procession of villagers with vacant eyes and hungry mouths. At their center walked Amma, no longer maintaining her human facade. Her limbs moved with unsettling fluidity, her shadow writhed with shapes that belonged to no earthly creature. "The last obstinate one," Amma hissed, her voice layered with echoes. "Tonight, you join your friend in my cooking pot." But Omi did not retreat. She stood in her doorway, one hand on her mother's Bible, the other concealed in her wrapper. "I know what you are, Mpasusu, flesh-eater, soul thief, grave robber." Amma laughed, a sound like bones breaking. "And what will you do, daughter of no one? Your king feasts at my table. Your village drinks my broth. Even Zara's husband warms my sleeping mat. The God my mother worshipped is greater than your hunger, Omi declared, opening the Bible. As she began to read, Ama's face contorted in fury. Silence her, Ama commanded the villagers, who lurched forward like puppets. But Omi's voice grew stronger with each verse. The protective powder from Zima formed a circle the possessed villagers could not cross. When Kenneth lunged with inhuman strength, Omi anointed his forehead with blessed oil, causing him to collapse, retching black bile. Ama shrieked in rage, her form shifting between woman and something ancient. Her fingers extended into talons that slashed inches from Omi's face. Your God has no power here. This is the land of ancestors who hunger for flesh, just as I do. In that moment, Omi pulled out her phone, its camera capturing Ama's transformation. The elongated jaw unhinging to reveal rows of needle teeth, the skin rippling as something else pushed through from within. The ancestors reject you, Omi countered. They sent me dreams to defeat you. As Omi continued reading sacred verses, the villagers began to tremble, their eyes clearing. Some fell to their knees, vomiting the darkness that had possessed them. Ama's confidence faltered as her power weakened. She lunged with supernatural speed, but when her claws touched the Bible, they sizzled and blackened like wood in fire. What is happening? Ama shrieked, her voice losing its hypnotic power. Evil feasts in darkness, Omi answered, her phone's light illuminating Ama's true form, but cannot survive when exposed to light. For the first time since her arrival in coma, fear flickered across Ama's eyes. As dawn broke over coma, truth shattered the dark spell. The king's guards, their minds finally cleared, seized Ama, whose monstrous nature had been revealed through the images captured on Omi's phone. The village gathered as King Obika examined the evidence. Not just Ama's transformation, but recordings of her midnight harvesting of corpses. We have consumed the forbidden, the king declared, his voice breaking with shame. We have eaten our ancestors' flesh and allowed a demon to feast on our souls. They bound Ama with chains blessed by prayers. She thrashed and spat curses in languages long forgotten by human tongues. The village that had once mocked Omi now bowed before her courage. Most profound was Kenneth's transformation. The spell broken, he remembered his beloved Zara and the horror of his betrayal. I shared my mat with the creature that drove my wife to death, he wept. How can such a sin ever be forgiven? Omi placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. Honor Zara's memory by raising your children to recognize evil, even when it comes disguised as something desirable. 3 days after her imprisonment, guards found Ama's cell empty. The chains lay unbroken, the walls remained unbreached. All that remained was a dark stain on the floor, not quite blood, not quite shadow, and the lingering scent of decay. Some say her kind cannot be killed by mortal means, only banished for a time. But for now, Coma Village was free from her influence. Seasons passed and Coma Village healed. King Obika appointed Omi as his chief advisor, for a village needs those who see truth when others are blinded by desire. My friends, our ancestors left us these folk tales to prepare us for life's battles. When you encounter your own monsters, whether they wear human faces or come as tempting desires, remember brave Omi of Coma. Have you ever stood alone against what everyone else accepted? Share your story in the comments below. And if this tale awakens something within you, subscribe for more wisdom from Africa's ancient storytellers. For when we remember these lessons, our ancestors smile upon us from beyond the veil. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.